Hey everyone, welcome. It's Darren. Today we're going to talk about Excel time functions. Uh, there are some fairly simple functions in Excel that sometimes work the way you'd expect, and sometimes they very much don't work the way you'd expect. Um, when they work, they'll do about 90% of the work that you need to do. When they don't work, there are some ways to get around it, though. So I'm going to show you how they're supposed to work, how they fail, and what to do when they fail. So let's jump right into it. Uh, One warning when you're working with Excel, either date or time, before you get started, uh, sometimes you'll do a function or an operation with date or time, and you'll get something that looks completely wrong. It'll give you a number instead of a date or a time. And all you have to do is just go into the format menu and change it. Excel actually stores all dates and times as a number. Uh, every date has a time, every time has a date. The whole number part is the date. The decimal part is the time. Uh, Day one is January 1st of 1900. It's the beginning of time as far as Excel is concerned. And zero time is midnight. So the if you ever just get something really weird or some of your numbers look weird, you do, 11 p.m. plus 2 hours, and it tells you it's 1 a.m. instead of, you thought you were doing 23 hours plus 2 hours and it thought you were doing 11 p.m. in 2 hours. Uh, just change the format. That's how you have to deal with it. Okay, so let's jump into this. So let's say I want to add 2 hours to A1. So I should just be able to do equals A1 plus 0200, right? Nope, can't do it. Um, it would be really easy to do that. It'd be really great to do that. Can't do it. Um, what you can do is if you have that 2 hours in another cell here, you can add those. So you can do equals A1 plus B1, especially if you do it right and you do A1 plus A2. And that gives you 3 hours. That gives you exactly what you'd expect. You can do subtraction as well. So you can do equals A2 minus A1. Uh, so addition, subtraction work. Bizarrely enough, multiplication works. So you can do equals A1 times A2, which works just fine and makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Uh, so whenever you're doing calculation with dates or times, make sure that the numbers actually make sense. Make sure they're what you thought. In this case, there's no meaningful, what is 1 hour times 2 hours? Even just thinking about it doesn't make any sense. Um, So let's say you wanted to add 15 minutes to something. Uh, so we already saw you could just make a cell with 15 minutes. But if you don't want to do that, if you just want to put it right in the equation, you can do that too. So we'll do equals, let's do A1 again, plus, and in this case, we have to do a function time value, and then we'll do 00:15, and that adds 15 minutes. The time value up here, uh, you need hours and minutes. Seconds are optional. So we could have come up here and put in :30 as well if we wanted to. And if we change the format on this so we can actually see the seconds, let's go to regular time. So now we see we added 15 minutes and 30 seconds, which is what we wanted to do. Addition, subtraction, they work like that. You just have to use the time value function. Okay, well, what if we try something a little different? What if I do equals B2 or B1? Sorry, what if I do A1 minus A2? And well, if I can do A1 plus A2 and I can do A2 plus A1 and I can do A2 minus A1, I should be able to do A1 minus A2, right? And instead I get this. Well, if you have worked in Excel long, you know that those usually mean it's just too wide. But if you hover over it, dates and times that are negative or too large show us that. Usually it's too large, but you can stretch this out as far as you want. That goes on forever. And what's going on here is a time without having entered a date is January 1st of 1900. So this is 1 a.m. January 1st, 1900. I'm subtracting 2 hours from that, which is 11 p.m. on December 31st, 1899. The computer doesn't think 1899 ever existed. Windows just says no, that's before the beginning of time, and it gives you an error. If you want to work with dates prior to 1800, you have to do some special stuff. You have to kind of handle your date calculations yourself, your date formatting yourself. Uh, Sometime in the future, I'm going to put together a video on how to do that. I haven't done it yet. I'm not sure when it's going to come out, but somewhere in the future. So just subscribe, and when that comes out, you'll get notified. If you just enter a time, as I mentioned, it's always January 1st, 1900. Uh, you've seen how to change the format. In fact, here we can just change the format on this one for fun. So if we do format cells, time, default time. If we do format on it, change it to general. So January 1st, 1900 at 1 a.m. is 0.041666666, probably going on forever. Um, but you can still do operations on it. So I can still do equals A1 plus A2. And time operations still work on it. It's only putting it in a time format for us humans. The computer doesn't use it. Uh, so what do you do if you want to say have a time and you want to be able to subtract more than what would push it negative? And the answer is you just have to make sure that you have a date on it. So if I did 2/29 2025 at 1:15 a.m. and then I subtract from this equals A7 minus, oh, I'm going to pick a different date because that date is a lot of days. So I'm going to go with January 1st of 2025. And then I want to subtract off of this, so equals A7, which is January 1st, 2025 at 1:15 a.m. I want to subtract 2 hours from that. Well, I've got 2 hours up in A2, so I don't need to use time value. Minus A2. And that will take it back to December 31st, 2024. Uh, and the reason I can get away with that is because um, it will go back the year or whatever, but remember, every date has a time, every time has a date. So as long as you don't go subtract so much that you land before that January 1st of 1900, you can go subtract as much time off as you want. So this is about it for what Excel can do with times. For elapsed times, I mentioned, this is just a format. If you have, uh, you can set this for formatting here. If we're going on to format cells, go to your time format. If you want more than 24 hours, like if you want elapsed hours, minutes, seconds, for example, you can do elapsed hours, minutes, and seconds just by picking that format. Okay, so what do you do if Excel doesn't do the functions that you want or it gives you errors? And to do that, what you have to do is you have to break down your hours, minutes, and seconds into separate cells. and you take those separate cells and you do your calculations on it. You do integer division on those to put them back into hours, minutes, and seconds again with integer division and modulo operations. And then you reformat that back into a time. And if it's before 1900, you certainly have to just reformat that as a text field. If it's 1900 or later, you can then just stick it back into the time function. Anyway, there's links down in the description for the integer division and modulo functions. There's a link to the description, video for breaking down date and time and reassembling them. So that should be about it for Excel times. Uh, Again, Excel is not perfect with this, but there are some great functions that 90% of the time will take care of what you need, and 10% of the time will usually look kind of weird and make you figure it out yourself. Uh, but hopefully that 90% covers much of what you're doing. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. If you learned anything today, please be sure to click the like button, hit subscribe and notify to see when I release anything new. Also, have a Patreon page at patreon.com/data analysis excellence. If you could help out the channel there, that would be great. And I hope to see you again real soon. Thanks for stopping by.